His entire skull split open in 3 different directions. The devastation was unimaginable, a catastrophic injury inflicted upon a tiny, helpless life. The perpetrator of such an atrocity was 65-year-old Barbara Kendry, and the victim was a mere 5-month-old baby Cooper Dubik. This senseless act occurred on March 7, 2017, just moments before Barbara herself made a chilling 911 call. 911, what's location of your emergency? Yes, I need an ambulance right now. I have a baby. What's your address, ma'am? But by that point, it was already too late. When detectives arrived, Cooper Dubik was gravely injured, clinging to life. The only adult present was his babysitter, Barbara Kendry. As baby Cooper fought for his life in the hospital, detectives knew their only hope of saving him was to get Barbara to tell the truth about what truly happened. They pressed her, last chance. Last chance. You've got to show us exactly, because you understand that that baby may not make it. Barbara Kendry, a 65-year-old woman from Florida, had been entrusted with the care of 5-month-old Cooper Dubik. What was meant to be a simple babysitting job took a dark and tragic turn. With Cooper fighting for survival, police wasted no time bringing Barbara in for questioning. The detectives were now on the clock, racing to unearth the truth. But the story Barbara was about to spin was something they never saw coming. The interrogation began with routine questions, establishing Barbara's background. Her education level didn't quite complete 10th grade. By about halfway through, she stated calmly. She confirmed she lived with her husband for 2, maybe 3 years, and that they had previously lived in Orange Park. Her family ties to Cooper were also established. I know his dad. His brother was married to my daughter. That's how I got to know Carly. Barbara had been babysitting Cooper for about a month, typically from early morning until late afternoon, depending on the parents' work schedules. Her husband, she explained, was on disability and usually home, though he was not present on the day of the incident. From the very start, Barbara appeared unusually calm, even as the gravity of the situation loomed. She began by outlining how sick Cooper had been the week before. He was fussy, had a fever, he was congested. She recalled, describing how they had to put warm clothes on him because it was cold. She claimed the parents had told her he was sick last week, noting he was congested, sneezing, pulling on his ears, and teething, which led to a lot of crying. She even mentioned the parents taking a few days off because his temperature was up, and he was still sick when he returned. I knew something was wrong with him because he was kind of sneezing, nose running, and crying all the time. I thought maybe it was just his teeth. This focus on Cooper's illness was a calculated setup, a carefully crafted stage for the bigger lies she was about to tell. Yesterday, she claimed, Cooper was pretty sick, with a temperature of 99.8 all day and congestion in both his nose and chest. He was dropped off this morning, around 7:30 a.m. What did you notice this morning? The detective probed. I kind of noticed there was something wrong with him. I thought maybe it was just me, so I really didn't think anything about it. She then detailed his feeding schedule, a bottle with cereal around 9 a.m., followed by other meals like yogurt. He drank pretty much all of it, she stated. He then took a nap, waking up around 10 a.m., after barely an hour. He cried all day, she recounted. There's nothing I could have done to really entertain him. Barbara described trying to soothe him in a musical rocker, then a walker, but he rejected both. She tried to feed him another bottle, but he didn't want it. She checked his diaper, he was fine. Her only concern, she reiterated, was his little congestion. Around noon, she laid him down again, but he continued to cry. She picked him up, rocked him, tried another bottle, but he pushed the bottle out with the mouth. She even mentioned giving him little white tablets for his gums provided by his parents. Up to this point, Barbara's story seemed fairly believable. A baby dealing with congestion and teething, crying throughout the day, sounds normal enough. But what truly raised questions was the underlying desperation in her narrative. Her constant insistence that Cooper was already sick reflected a hidden guilt. It was as if she wanted to distance herself from the tragedy as quickly and as far as possible. So then what happens next? The detective asked. I said he was going to go to sleep, so I rocked with him. He cried all over again. He acted like he was tired. He was going like to see his eyes and crying. I said, I'll lay him down. How a baby was doing that, cry hard like that. That's what he was doing. And I started cooking. She continued, describing how she thought Cooper had fallen asleep. A few minutes later, she checked on him. I thought, you like this? I said, Cooper, and no response. She shook him, calling his name. Nothing. You know how their eyes are halfway open. He sleeps like that sometimes. He's just sleeping, but still no response. She picked him up, holding him to her chest, calling his name, shaking his legs and arms. He wouldn't respond, so it scared me. She laid him down on a recliner chair and ran to her next door neighbor, who then came over and performed CPR. They told her to compressions like this here on him and pull hands and fingers, or they told her to do this here. Barbara explained, gesturing, kept blowing his ear, kept blowing in his mouth. When asked if she was doing it, Barbara replied, she was doing that. I was screaming, crying. What the hell happened here? What's going on? He was just fine 2-3 hours ago. He's laughing, eating, playing, cooling, you know. When the rescue team arrived, Barbara recounted, the neighbor turned Cooper to his side, and a whole bunch of mucus came rolling out of his mouth, a bunch. My floor was wet. She pinpointed the location of the vomit, near the coffee table and his little chair walker. She confirmed it was enough to make the floor wet, and that this happened after the CPR. Cooper, she stated, never started breathing. When she picked him up, he was limper, real limp, and clammy, to the touch, all pale. Barbara's voice was laced with what seemed like fake concern as she recounted her struggle to wake baby Cooper and her frantic attempt to get help from a neighbor. But unlike a typical criminal, she had no idea that every word she uttered became a clue for the detectives, bringing them closer to the tragic truth. Now, the detectives were about to use these opportunities to pin her down. Was your husband home today? The detective pressed. No, he's got a part-time job on the side. He left about 60:30, before the baby. She confirmed no one else was home, just her, the baby, and her small dog. She denied the dog jumping on the baby or causing any injury. Then came the crucial question. Did the baby fall today at all or anything happen? Would there be any kind of injury? Barbara's fear of incarceration leaped through an unprovoked denial. No. Oh, hurt a baby. She added, sometimes accidents happen, then quickly blamed her own arm, which sometimes gives out. But she insisted, there was no accidents today. Nothing happened that would cause any injuries. No. This unprovoked denial is a typical behavior of someone who is indeed guilty. Seeing this, the detective took the opportunity to reveal the severity of Cooper's condition. They knew Barbara's flinch wasn't just nervousness, it was anxiety. And now they were about to use it to push her to tell the truth. So that's what we got to figure out, how that happened. The detective stated, I don't know how that happened, and that's why I'm asking you. Was there any accidents today? I play with him up in the air, chance you dropped him today on accident. No. The detective continued, because here's the thing, obviously you know what we do, and we're very good at what we do, and those doctors are excellent at shands. The doctors there tell us that the baby has a skull fracture. Now, a skull fracture is something that, if that would have happened over the weekend or this morning before you had him, it would have been pretty obvious because the baby would not have been cooing or laughing or anything. If something happens at your house today, okay? And that's what we got to figure out what happens. And I know sometimes these things are hard to talk about, but, the truth always comes out. And I would much rather hear it from you than to hear from somebody else. The detective gave her an ultimatum. So if something happened today, now's the time to tell me. You'd be 100% truthful. Because even if you try and say it's one thing, the doctors will be able to tell how it happened. These doctors are good. That baby's in a bad way. In fact, it's being transferred right now to Wolfson's NICU. They have even better equipment. They may even be able to tell us a little bit more about how this may have happened. And that's why I need you to be 100% honest with me. What happened today? Barbara's composure began to crack. Like I said, if I told you what happened, I put him down on the awn. How did the baby's head get hurt? I don't know. That's what's got me. The detective pressed. You're watching, so you would have known something happened. And you said you even said it. At 1000, he's awake and he's moving. And then crying this afternoon. He has a traumatic brain injury. So something happens between the time he gets there and this afternoon. And that's what we got to figure out. And I can promise you that if you lie to me, it's not going to be good for you.